Alright everybody, so this is going to be what your hybrid home project is going to be. We're going to be creating a coil built serving bowl, and we're going to be creating something that's a little bit larger than what you could make on the wheel, or quite a bit larger than what you could make on the wheel. This bowl right now is about, I would say, 6 pounds or so. You guys should be going home with somewhere around 10 pounds of clay, maybe a little bit less, maybe more like 6 pounds, but can always bring more clay home if you need it. But I would like to see you guys use as much of that clay to build your bowl as possible. Okay? Yours may not look exactly like mine, but I am going to require you to stick within certain dimensions. And if you finish one, you can always move on and make another one of your choice. Okay? The expectation for this project is going to be that you guys are working every single day during the hybrid time, logged into class through the Google Meets, and you're going to make sure that you have your cameras on and I can see you, and I'm going to pop in and answer questions if you have them while you guys are working. So I'll try to split the class up so that I'm going to work with people in the meeting for a portion of the time, and then I'll work with people at in the classroom for a portion of the time, and then I'll just go where I need to be. Okay? In order to make this piece, you don't need a whole lot of tools. Just a few tools will be fine. You could really only need like a sponge and a metal rib is really all you need. Helpful to have some sort of cutting utensil, which you guys already have at home. My X-Acto knives don't leave the classroom. They need to stay in the classroom. So you probably have one of these at home, or you've got just even like a steak knife will be just fine. Butter knife would probably be fine too. So make sure these stay in the room, and make sure that the majority of my tools you're going to be using during the day when you're in class. So if you do need to take them home, you have to make sure you bring them back so you've got them for class. Okay? Some life hacks, as you guys like to call them, for some of these tools. You could get away with using different things. You don't need to bring home your sponge from class. I've got a different shaped sponge here at home. I've actually got a bunch of them. You could use any type of sponge to do this. It doesn't matter what kind it is. You could use your kitchen sponge. All you need the sponge for is when you're adding coils to wet the surface of the coil just a little bit before you attach it. That's all the water you're going to use. Okay? Your metal rib, if you bring it home, fine. Just make sure to bring it back every day. But you can get away with just using like a gift card that has been used up that you don't need anymore. Okay? Plastic, square, it works the same, does the same exact thing. Okay? It might not be quite as flexible as your metal rib, but it'll do the same job. Okay? You could even cut them or saw them into a certain shape. Like if you got a little tiny saw you can cut with, you can make different shapes with them as well. So you can be creative about what you use for your rib. Okay? Another tool that you're going to want is some sort of tool that you can use as a scoring tool. Okay, so you're going to do a lot of scoring on this project, and if you've got like a comb, or if you've got like a hair pick would work fine, if you've got one laying around, or even some knives that are serrated, a serrated knife would work just fine. It doesn't have to be this tool. Anything that you can score into the surface of the clay really, really quickly would be a big help. Okay? Some other tools that will come in handy, you're going to want to make sure that you've got, I always use 2 towels when I'm working. I've got a wet towel to get all the clay and junk off my hands frequently, and then I don't always want to have wet hands when I'm working with the clay, so I keep a dry towel right next to me to dry things up or dry my hands up as soon as I clean them off. Okay? The other thing that you're going to need is some plastic. Now I've got plastic for you in the classroom, obviously, but you might need to bring use a garbage bag. Just cut up a garbage bag at home, or these are probably the right size that you could just use a shopping bag. A plastic shopping bag would be just fine. Okay? I've got this really fancy wheel that I use for just turning the work while I'm working on it for you to see easily. But it doesn't have to be on a wheel like this. You can just work right on the tabletop and just move it around as you go. It might be helpful though if you have it on something like a plate. If you just bring a plate out of the cabinet, or if you've got a plastic plate, maybe you got little brothers and sisters, I've got 4 kids, so I've got a slew of plastic plates. Anything that you could put the work on so that you can turn the object rather than turning the work. So when you see me working on this, I'm constantly turning this wheel to move around the piece. I'm trying not to touch the piece if I don't have to. Another thing that's going to be helpful is you're using plastic to prevent this from drying out, but sometimes as you're building it gets a little bit too soft, and so you want to use something to allow it to dry out and to maybe speed it up. So one thing you could do is when you're done working on it for the day, you could leave it unwrapped for an hour or 2, just sitting out in your house. If you've got the heat on in your house, which people may be starting to do that, it'll probably dry out a little faster if you've got the fans blowing in your house. My studio here is actually underneath my garage. It's all concrete. It's kind of cool. There's no air movement down here, so I can leave things open for quite a while before they start to dry out. In fact, in the videos you'll see I'll work on these in the evenings, usually 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and I don't wrap them up until the next day, and it allows them to just stiffen up a little bit so that I can work with them, and then I'll wrap them up the next day. I think that this might be new for most of you. It's going to be a little bit larger working and probably somehow that you haven't done before. So my videos are long and I try to be extremely informative. Sometimes it's me just rambling to avoid dead, quiet air while I'm working. But I intend for you guys to play the movie and do the work at the same time. I would not advise you to watch the movies and then work afterward. Work along with me. It'll go a lot smoother for you. And if you have problems, you can kind of tell me where your problems are, and I can try to help you with that. Okay. If you have questions while you're working, make sure to let me know in the Google Meet because I will try to answer them right away. If you're struggling, don't hesitate to let me know. And also, don't hesitate to come in for study hall or come in for lunch and learn if you need some extra help. So we're going to be working on this project for a while, and I expect you guys to build some big stuff. Okay? I might even throw out a little contest for who can make the biggest vessel. So the shape that you see here is similar to what you're going to make, but I'll give you some dimensions. Inside of my bowl is nice and finished. I hope you can see that with the focus. It's nice and smooth. You don't see any coils. Okay? When you look at the outside, I've got a little bit of a texture pattern on there. That texture is actually just slip that I've brushed onto the surface of my piece once it's already finished. And something like that could be available to people that want to do that. Alright? So I'm going to begin building. I'm going to start from the ground and work my way up. And hopefully you guys are successful in your efforts. Good luck. If you got questions, make sure you let me know.